Thank you so much, Huma, for talking to us, and welcome to India Today Television. To begin with, I have to congratulate you for all the wonderful work that you have been doing. We've been following you on social media. We've been seeing all the initiatives that you have been, a part of, and you're reaching out to the people out there in such difficult times. To begin with, I have to ask you, what really triggered this entire initiative and, the fact that you wanted to go out there and personally help people out?
Well, personal pain, anxiety, best friends, closest people, colleagues, team members falling sick. My father's friends, people I've grown up with. So it sort of suddenly felt like a few weeks ago as if the whole world was just collapsing around me. And also like just calling up people, trying to get help, getting people hospital beds, medicines, oxygen, the whole thing. And of course, touch wood, thankfully everybody's now okay and back home. But it makes you realize, like, it makes you angry, it makes you anxious, it makes you be like, why is this happening? And I still had this moment of like, where I was like, at least we know people, we have, I consider myself to be very privileged, and I'm very aware of my privilege, but there's so many people, and we've all seen those visuals of like scrambling for oxygen, going from one gurdwara to the other, looking for help, people dying outside hospital gates. That of course left one very, very moved and very, very hurt. But again, then I was like, what does one do? Can one just keep venting and being angry about it, or one does something and use this pain and use this hurt to do something about it? And Save the Children is an organization I have been associated with in the past. I have traveled with them 2-3 years ago to Nepal, where I've seen the on-ground work they've done with villages and children in particular. So when this whole thing was happening, I remember picking up the phone and having this conversation saying, what can we do? And of course, there are many, many concerns about child rights and child safety at a time like this, because children are the worst hit in a pandemic. But the most immediate concern was, how do we save lives and what can we do, especially in the middle of the second wave? And Delhi, which is my hometown where I've grown up, I was born in, one saw what was going on. It was very, very heartbreaking. We've identified a place, a hospital, Il Tilak Nagar, which we're already working with, very closely with. We've already sent there 70 oxygen concentrators. And as we speak, in the weeks to go by, we will set up not just the 100-bed COVID facility, but also add 50 additional beds for the pediatric unit, the neonatal care center, an ICU facility. I mean, these are all work in progress. Hopefully, inshallah, we'll be able to do this and much more. Hopefully, take it to other cities, take it to other villages. But the idea was to start small and start somewhere. This pandemic, I feel, has shown us the worst side that can possibly go wrong. And it's been very heartbreaking. But at the same time, I mean, I feel like a sense of reconnecting with humanity in people and citizens just coming out and helping each other. Sometimes, just out of the goodness of their hearts, with just not even wanting any acknowledgement or anything in return. And that is
Right.
a beautiful part of, what we're seeing. Yes, there's pain. But like on social media, like I remember reaching out to somebody, and a local MLA from Agra helped us get somebody a bed. That man is better now. He's COVID free and he's going to be reunited with his family. So stories like that give you, a lot of heart. Of course, there are hard days when somebody you're trying to get across some help to does not make it. And those days are very, very dark and depressing.
Absolutely.
But then you feel like, I'm just playing a very small part in it. I think about their families, I think about their loved ones. I think about the doctors and nurses and the healthcare workers attending to them and seeing this day in and day out. And guys, like, I mean, I just want to say this, like, they've been working tirelessly since last year, without a break. There has been no break for them. I talk to a lot of doctors, and I hear them, and they are on the brink of exhaustion. And the only thing, I just call them like, you guys are our superheroes. You really are saving us and standing between the entire country and this pandemic. So yeah, really hats off to them.
Talk to us more about your tie-up with Save the Children, because we can see so many children are affected in the second wave. We've seen a lot of them becoming orphans, unfortunately, losing even one parent for that matter. What is it that you are doing with the NGO to perhaps reach out to all the children there?
See, it's been a process of self-discovery and education for myself also. There's so many things I was not aware of that I'm constantly also trying to understand from the on-ground team, right? As an actor, you're sometimes not exposed to what the really the root cause is or what can you do. So sometimes you don't
Right.
want to be the one spreading any misinformation. Say, for example, a very important thing that came forward is I know a lot of people were trying to adopt children because they felt, who were COVID orphans, and it became like a big thing. And I was talking to Save the Children team about it, and they were like, of course, we understand there's a big emotional reason for this to happen, and and people want to do this, but we have to make sure that no matter how cumbersome the legal process is, they have to go through it, because what you're trying to protect is each and every child, because so many of these children, because there are no parents and there's a panic and chaotic situation, there could be a lot of illegal adoptions, and that could result in some of these children coming in the way of harm or being trafficked, and that is something we have to really focus on and prevent, because they could be worse off. So although we understand where that emotion is coming from, it still has to be done in a proper systematic way. Of course, another conversation is how do we make the legal process of adoption farm less cumbersome for genuine parties concerned.
Celebrities are caught in a catch 22. You help, you are targeted. You don't help, you are targeted even then. So how do you handle that?
I don't think that's a conversation to be had. I feel like big facts jahan se bhi aa rahe hain, maybe it's just anger, frustration. People are also really upset. So I honestly don't spend too much time thinking about it,
Right.
or getting worried about it. I know why I'm doing something. I know what my intentions are. I know what the outcome is going to be. So I tend to not worry about what a couple of people are saying. I honestly put it down to शायद बेचारे वो अपने लाइफ से दुखी होंगे, उनको तकलीफ हो रही होगी या किसी चीज से गुजर रहे होंगे, तो I don't invest too much thought in it. I know I have done what I've done, personally, financially towards this. And believe you me, I was so surprised and so pleasantly surprised when I started my fundraiser and I reached out to everybody that I knew. And there were many, many people and celebrities, who didn't revert to my message or something. So I thought, okay, maybe nahi reply kiya hoga, ya bhul gaye honge, ya unka dil nahi hoga, to engage with it. And they have quietly gone and donated a generous amount. And then later when I got to know, I have either called them or texted them saying thank you. I thought you didn't respond to my message, so maybe, it didn't matter to you. And they were like, no, we just don't want too much. We don't want to do it because we want appreciation or acknowledgement. We just want to do it, and all the best to you. You are doing all the hard work and we just want to support you. But it's okay. We don't want our name to come. It's not important. Naam aana zaruri nahi hai, kaam hona zaruri hai.
But Huma, we haven't even started talking about mental health. Like, you did mention that, call up your friends, call up your neighbors, go and try and help them out. See if they want to talk to you. Because what we're actually going to go into is a phase that, people are feeling very lonely and very, very stressed. So that is also a huge concern.
Yes, it is a huge concern, and it should be a huge concern. I think what we'll go through, at least what the doctors and the researchers are saying, it will be very, very similar to what kind of symptoms people go through after a war, because the anxiousness level or whatever can be compared, if not more, and I feel like that is something for a long time. You'll see the repercussions of that in how we are, how we engage, how we shop, whatever. I think is going to reflect in everything. And that is a conversation one must have. One must talk about mental health. One must talk about removing the stigma of mental health. I know for a fact that I've had to do speak to somebody once a month, if not more, just to be like, I want to just vent out and discuss what I'm going through. Because what happens is social distancing situation is not normal for us, right? We are creatures who are so used to living life a certain way, and it throws up a plethora of issues unresolved. It throws a plethora of anxieties unresolved that you need to have like somebody to talk to about. And it's really okay to talk to a doctor about it. It's really okay to talk to a loved one about it. If you're feeling low, depressed, anxious, whatever, it happens. It's happening to all of us. So let's talk about it. Let's accept it, and let's normalize it.
All the best, and we all hope that you do reach your mark of your of your fundraiser, and it'll be our pleasure to actually help you out in any way possible. And thank you so much for talking.
Thank you.